Urfreshtv Sports V10 here, and I've got a guest for us today. It's basically I played with him, I played against him, close friend. We talk in and around football, about football, and I thought it'd be interesting to have a conversation with today, considering everything that's going on in the current climate of the world right now. And it's my boy Tyrone Newton. How you doing, Ty?
I'm good, V. How you doing, bro?
I'm not bad, man. I'm not bad, man. So, just introduce yourself to the people, just so they know you, your background in football and in general, because I know you've played at quite a few different levels, right?
Yeah. So like everyone with the whole knee injury thing. So I did my thing at Saint United,
Yeah.
and then luckily enough, I got a few opportunities. The best opportunity I got was at Portsmouth. Went there, looked like things were going well, and I was about to live the dream.
Yeah.
I went bankrupt, and then Harry left, and then that's when my career just took a nosedive. Bounced around, trialing, then just fell all the way down through non-league. And then since then, after that, I didn't really take it too seriously. After knockback, and then finally, to be fair, I just found some happiness now playing for Hartley Whitney after like a long time at Collinswood. Where, to be fair, Collinswood, I can't lie, playing with you most in that. That's where I found the love back. But then I got some drive back, 2 seasons ago, and just wanted to test myself high. And then yeah, it's going well so far.
Okay, cool. So, obviously, like you said, we've played together before.
Mm.
And you're someone that I've kind of wanted to interview for a long time. Like I've not been on your case, but I've thrown it out there a couple of times, and I've been knocked back. Just because when I did play with you, some of your opinions within football and on football was very strong. And I
Mm.
thought it'll be good content to just get that type of side view out there. But obviously you knocked me back, and then with the recent events, I woke up
Yeah.
one morning and I was just like, yo, it wasn't. I don't think you even said good morning. You was just like, yo, put me on, get me on. I got stuff to say in it. So how did we get there? How did we get to no, I'm cool. I just want to live my life. To like, yo,
no,
get me on
no.
there.
Do you know what? Right. This is what I'm scared of because when I talk, I just like to be honest,
Yeah,
and I feel like the way I keep it real, from my experience, it makes other people uncomfortable. But it's
yeah,
the kind of my mentality because I'm so honest. I know the things that I say are either challenge people, so you're either gonna roll with me or you're gonna be against me. So that's why sometimes, like and I consider you like a friend, someone I've known for so long, and you're building a platform. I'd never wanted the responsibility of being the guy that comes on your platform and
yeah.
deads it because he just says bare shit that just upsets everyone.
It just ruins
You
it
know what
all.
I mean? Yeah, but then and then this happened, like all this like awareness, and I had my own awakening about my identity, being black and stuff like that, and I thought, nah, okay, nah, I gotta speak now. If people get upset, people get upset. But I think I gotta do. If I want to see my life get better
Mm,
and all my brothers get better, like we need to start telling the truth now. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah,
if we have
no,
to get uncomfortable, we have to get uncomfortable.
yeah, no. It kind of reflected in a lot of your story posts, some powerful messages getting put out there. So, like you said, you played at different levels. Have you experienced like racism at all levels you played at?
Uh, I think yeah, yeah, 100% to different degrees. I think the main one, which has always been a constant, and I only realized it last last season, just gone, is you realize when you get older, you get more mature, you pay attention to things a bit more. And what I realized has been happening my whole career is that I'm sure other people will be able to share the same experience. Is that I realize that if I'm angry on a football pitch, there's a very good chance of me getting a yellow card. Like, cause you remember when we played with each other at Colliers, I would rarely get a yellow card.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
prided myself on getting a booking, like
yeah, yeah,
timing my challenges and whatever. And
yeah.
every time I got a booking was because of what I said.
Mm,
And you know me, like I haven't got the wildest mouth or anything like that. But then that's when I deep that some referees, because not all, see me being aggressive or being passionate as threatening. So that's time to give me a yellow card.
yeah,
But then when it's somebody who's white doing it, it's passion. But it's me, and anyone that knows me knows I'm not like that. Like
yeah, yeah,
I'm not a fighter, obviously, unless I have to defend myself. And I just thought that's just fucked up. But I never said nothing.
yeah,
I feel, I feel like a coward now. Now that I'm old, I'm like, why did I not say nothing?
yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you.
Do you know what I mean? I think that for me, that's the most common one. And then we take it back to obviously no names will be said, but we take it to a lot of changing room jokes, those things that like, well, they call them jokes that you laugh off, innit? Because
Mm,
you don't want to ruin the atmosphere, because you don't want to upset everyone. You got a game to focus on, but inside you're like, what the? And then now you got to go out on the pitch and you're thinking about what's just been said
yeah,
whilst you're also trying to play. And it's like, and this burden that as black people mainly, like we carry with us all the time, that we're trying not to be the bad egg, we're trying not to be the bad apple. Do you know what I mean? Because you
yeah,
know that the way the society is, like, people just are looking for a reason to say, oh, he's got a chip on the shoulder. Because if I'm honest with you, like I said, I'm gonna be, is that a lot of brothers do walk around with a chip on their shoulder, and rightly so. Do you know what
yeah.
I mean? So, you know.
Yes. Is there like any specific events that occurred where you're like, right, that is actually blatant racism? Do you know what I'm saying? Or
Oh,
is
100.
or is it just a case of it always being a subliminal?
I tell you what, this is what I said, because I tell you what, a good man, my manager at Hartley, he called me when this was going on. He said, I just want to check up on you. That's a good brother. He's honestly the best manager I've ever had.
Yeah.
But a good point, like me and him was discussing, I said to him that a lot of people look at it and say, yeah, well, at least black people don't get shot. But I tell you what, here, the mental gymnastics you're constantly doing,
Mm,
because you're second guessing everything, because a lot of the racism here is passive aggressive, so you don't know. So every interaction, you're not really sure, like, wait, am I being sensitive, or does this person really mean what I think they mean? But
mm,
if you're talking about one thing I definitely saw was I was in the change room, and it wasn't directly at me, but I thought the fact that we have to let this go, you know that the game's fucked. Because so basically, I'll just tell you, he might know, he might know who he is if he
yeah.
listens to this. But there was a player, he arrived like a couple of minutes late or whatever, and he had a satchel on. And as he walked in, someone in the change room basically insinuated that he had a bomb in his satchel.
Oh wow.
And we basically, I know at the time I did at the time I did say to the person, you can't say that kind of thing, but we were about to play a match and whatever. It was one of those moments that I said that we then just had to carry on. But looking back now, that's so fucked up.
Mm, mm, mm.
Do you know what I mean? And that guy, I remember him, he was very talented and he was very inconsistent. Now, now I'm looking at it as a mature person, I'm thinking to myself, if I want someone to do well, I'm
Yeah.
not going to do that to them before a football match, am I?
Yeah.
And he was always accused of being inconsistent. So how do we know that that's not why he's inconsistent? Because he struggles with the pressure, with the
Yeah.
bullshit that we have to deal with in our society. So I
Yeah.
think to me that was the worst blatant racism. But a lot of it, when you turn up and like sometimes there'll be somebody that sees like a team and a Colliers, like we had quite a few black players in our team, and you'd hear the other team going, "Oh, a lot of black players in your team," and you're like, "What does that mean?"
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I didn't even know. I just wondered, what do you mean by that? What, a lot of black players?
Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you. And I feel like it's usually those ones where you kind of could par off as banter kind of thing, like change room banter.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but even within the team and friends and stuff like that, that type of banter gets thrown around. So where do you draw the line between like, okay, it's banter when someone says it, and then it's not if someone that where's the line, if you understand what I'm saying?
I think if I'm honest with you, now my view has changed. I'd have said before, like the George Floyd thing happened, I'd have said to you, look, if I've known you for a very long time and we're cool, whatever, I can accept when you're telling me a joke. But I just think now the way we are, the way we live our lives and stuff, is so fucked up that nobody can afford to make a joke, because it's that real. Because black people are dying, being harassed all the time. The amount of times I've been pulled over, I don't even talk about it to my girl anymore when I'm coming from training, because
Mm-mm.
where I live, there's not a lot of black people. Like, I'm sick of it. Some of the police officers, I know their faces, and I'm like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? So I just feel like if things are ever going to improve for us, we can't allow anybody to take the piss, because we don't really have any jokes that we direct at white people, do we? if you think about it, well, what do you say?
Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you. And obviously, since it's come out, I was like on the timeline. There's a lot of different opinions, and like I've seen other like things pop up, like don't judge all white people as racist, because a lot of people
Yeah,
throw that color out there and say white people are racist, and
yeah,
it's
yeah,
everyone kind of thing. So I know you had a conversation with I'm sure you won't mind me mentioning it, but Skipper Rick,
yeah, yeah.
and he was saying that Rod, that conversation enlightened him to understand like your perspective on it a lot better. So what was that conversation like? Well, did it
It
help
was,
you grasp where he was coming from as well?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And do you know what? This is the pressure I feel of, like, I hope I'm not offending anyone when I say this. This is the pressure of being black and educated about your history properly. Is that I know where someone like Rick's coming from,
Mm,
so I'm so frustrated. I can't even get angry with him because I know that he's saying what he's saying because of the way he's educated. Because even I'm sure my like Goody, like Aaron Good, like you won't mind me saying, he, not that his view was the same, but he said similar things to Rick. And then it's because the difference between me and them is that I was actually born in Africa and I was lucky enough to get like the African education for a certain period. So I'm lucky enough to know where things actually started for our people and people that look like me and whatever. Whereas Goody's had a European education. So what Goody was saying was not too far from what Rick was saying. And that's the frustrating thing. It's like people are talking about things because they've been educated in the same backwards way. And that way they've been educated is basically, for lack of better words, like a slave mentality. Because the main thing I had to teach Rick is that, like, we are all judged. So as a black person, an Asian or whatever, we're all judged as a race. So if a black person steals, for example, like, we're all thieves. No, now you got to be worried about all black people. But this is what white privilege is. Privilege is, if a white person steals, that white person's bad. So white people get the privilege of being judged individually,
okay.
and that's the difference, and that's the privilege. And white people don't even realize it themselves because that's just normal. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
Like, we don't walk around. I know it sounds extreme, but we don't walk around calling all white people pedophiles because Jeffrey Epstein did it. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
But because Bin Laden did what he did, anyone in a turban is a terrorist. Do you get what I'm saying to you?
Yeah, 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 100%,
You get what,
100%.
you get what
Yeah,
I'm saying to you? And that's the fucked up thing, that we've all agreed to this reality where every black person walks around with the pressure of his race on his back. Yet, if you're white, because of white supremacy and white privilege, you just represent you. You do your thing. Do you know
yeah,
what I mean? And the sad thing, which, like, I was realizing and speaking to Rick, and he realized, like, he didn't even know, he didn't realize it. So that's what frustrated me, because obviously I know Rick, so I know Rick's not saying all lives matter and all that from a bad place.
yeah.
It's just what he knows. It's just how he's been educated, and the education system is set up by white supremacy. So obviously he's going to speak like, as a product of that environment and that society.
So do you feel like it's something that will be eradicated, or something that's like, how do you stop this? Because obviously people are going to be playing in
Yeah.
these environments. So it's like, do you see these environments changing and people adapting to the
Um,
way they treat?
I think I don't. I'll be honest with you. I don't know how it's gonna stop, purely because racism is social construct. Like, racism is not something that's real. So there's only one race, human race, right?
Yeah,
We just happen to be different colors. Racism itself is a social construct. So separating by our colors is a social creation, and that was done for wealth and things like that. So even look at football. Football's advertised as like a sport of the people. No, it's not. It's owned by the suits. It doesn't belong to us.
mm,
And something that relates to you is that this is why people are finding more freedom on Sundays. This is why Sunday football is getting more love, because there isn't that money. Because when the money's involved, you have a protocol, you have a way to behave, you have things to follow. It almost takes the joy out of it. Do you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, hundred
And it
percent.
becomes a job. And it's the reason why a Raheem Sterling, when he's getting racially abused, whatever, because he's doing his job and there's money involved, he's got to stand still
Mhm.
and just take it and carry on with his game. Yeah, you know, it's on a Sunday and you say something like that, you know, it might get to cracking. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
facts.
so I don't know, because racism and money are married. So I don't know how we can ever get to that place, because if you think about it, if we were actually against racism in football especially, um and someone's racially abused, the whole game should stop, lock up, everyone goes home, Sky turn off their cameras and be like, oh, this is what's going on now. Do you know what I mean? You've got to be 100% against it, not 80%, not 95.
Yeah,
Do you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
100%, because once people realize that it cannot be tolerated at any level in any way, then you don't give people a choice, because people are not going to, because at the end of the day, even the racist person loves football. So he's going to be an idiot now if he's ruining it for not only himself but everyone else.
yeah. No,
So that's just my take on it.
no. To be honest, I think I'm definitely on side with what you're saying, and so like, what's your view on the way people are outraged right now? Is it, do you feel like the writing's going to do anything, or is it just for nothing?
I think, like, I understand the outrage, and I think it's about time. I just hope that we find constructive ways to keep it up, because you got to understand that this is a problem. We're in 2020. There's a problem that started in just after 1600. So we're not going to fix it in a month.
Yeah,
No
no,
way. No way. Like, because you got to remember, like, racism is something that's been passed down from generation to generation, and the system we live under is an oppressive racist system that we live in. So there's some things that, even as black people or any other non-whites, that even though it's in the long run it's counterproductive to us, we're just used to doing. So, like, even like work culture, like when you're in work, you're used to people saying things and things like that, and it's like we've got to find a collective way and a system that we start challenging all these things, because it'd be pointless if we all went into work and whenever anybody makes a joke or something, everyone starts fighting. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Because and if I'm honest with you, as bad as it sounds, non-white people didn't create racism. So I actually feel it's unfair that non-white people have to get rid of it.
yeah.
It
No,
shouldn't be up
100%.
to us.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
shouldn't be up to us to dismantle it. Like, white people should dismantle it. And I know, and just to make this clear, any white person watching this, right? I'm just holding you to the same standard that we're held to. So we're spoken to as black people as a race. So when I say white people, I'm just talking to white people as a race, because it is, because I know so many white people that have said to me, like, with confidence, to say, I'm cool with you, I got love with you, but my granddad, he's on a mad one. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like, but you're letting that run. Or there's a guy I talk to almost every day who's like, yeah, my girlfriend's dad, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, bro, what? You shouldn't be telling me. You should be setting him straight if you care that much. Because when it's time, when Drake's dropping his latest, or when it's a Stormzy thing or TYRONE or whatever, like, you want to get down. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, it's got to be a balanced thing, because when it's you, it's balanced. Because that's why I say, like, when I've been having a lot of conversation with white people lately, I'm like, do you realize that we participate in your culture with no complaint, and we don't pick and choose? Do you know what I mean? We're like, okay, cool. If this is white culture, all right, cool. I'm accepting it, and it is what it is. So it shows you their privilege again when they go, right, okay, I'm gonna tune into the highs, but then when it's the lows, I'm gonna tune out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's fucked up. And then you want to tell me that all lives matter? No, they don't. Clearly, you want to tell me that we're equal? We're clearly not, because you get to pick and choose what you do, and
Yeah,
nobody holds you accountable. And I think that's another problem. That's a bit. And I get why people are uncomfortable, because for the first time in their lives, they're being challenged. Their privilege is being challenged. They've never heard it before. No black person's ever said, or non-white person ever said to a white person, right? If we're equals, you've got to take responsibility for the racism in your culture. Because I know sure as hell, when a black person says something or does something fucked up, like, I'm now responsible. Do you know what I mean? When I'm on the train or when I turn up to football, someone might have been robbed before by a black guy. And if
mm,
I turn up to football and I'm in a tracksuit, now someone's nervous. Do you know what I mean?
no, no, 100%. So it sounds like from your angle, it's like it's hard to see like how we get over this, or is it a case of? I think I saw Balotelli come out not too long ago, and he was talking
Yeah.
about everyone moving to Africa, creating their own league and having their own African Champions League and whatnot. Like, because there's a lot of obviously people that have made a lot of money through football. If they put all their money in, they could potentially do that. Do you see that something?
Yeah.
Do you see that as something that could happen?
Could it happen? No. Like in in my dreams, yeah. In my dreams, yeah, it would be lit. But would it happen? No. Like there's too much dysfunction in Africa for anything nice to go there and stay nice. There's too much poverty. There's too much hunger for people to not. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah,
it's just not realistic. Like speaking as a proud African, things in Africa can be nice for a while, and then people are hungry. Do you know what I mean? And then things go left. The only way, and the sad thing is in Africa, the only way nice things stay nice is if they're owned and controlled by white people, which they still do to this day.
yeah,
So that's the sad thing. But I feel when you say about could things change, like if things change, we need to educate ourselves better um, as as a race and learn about our true history. If you know what I mean, because like especially these with of this COVID stuff, and I'm working from home, or whatever. I'm reading a lot of things like all the time, just trying to create even more and more and more information and whatnot. Because as much as I love football, I've realized that to change football, society needs to change because members of society are in football. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah,
those are the ones that run it. So I think if we want to change football, we just first of all we need to change ourselves and
yeah,
challenge all the things that we let go and run, and then we can think about the future. Because until we know ourselves and where we're from, people can play in between us, pull us apart. Because I've seen black people. I saw on Twitter there was a black woman calling all the rioters and looters, just saying they're criminals and whatever.
yeah.
And I'm thinking, babe, you're lost.
Mm, 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 mm. Do you think, like you said, the way that the football's set up right now, in terms of
Mm,
it's like kind of institutionalized racism. It's there.
mm,
It's like the powers that be, the suits that you're talking about.
mm.
Do you think that players that are playing within that environment have that's like a core reason as why a lot of talent doesn't make it?
Yeah.
Like they
Oh,
like they're not they can't commit to that because it just they clash with it, kind of thing. You know, like you
yeah.
said, there's some like passive aggressive and
Yeah, yeah,
stereotypes, and do you reckon that drains the love out
yeah.
of them, or
Yeah, no, 1,000%. Like, and I tell you, and I tell you now, is like you hear all these phrases like, "Oh, he's a good egg. Oh, he's a good lad." He's like, I think about it. Like, what was it called in Man City? Was it? It was about 6 months ago. One of their heads of their recruitment was signing black players, and he was calling them BBQs, big, black, and quick.
yeah, I saw that. I can't remember
Yeah,
who it was, but I
do you know
saw
what I mean? So that's from a top club. So that lets you know that supremacy is even up at that level. That's what they think of us. And I feel like what we know is that if you're not a good boy,
it.
to so to speak,
Yeah,
yeah, that can easily hinder you. Do you know what I mean? That can 100% hinder you because you have to fit in. You have to make everyone else feel comfortable. Because if you don't, look at that's the reason why, for example, Balotelli. Don't get me wrong, Balotelli is an absolute madman, but that is exactly why everything that he does is an issue. But let's say who's an example? Okay, good example. Paul Gascoigne is a legend. But if you actually think about the stuff he was doing, like driving buses into the walls and things like that, it's madness. It's absolute madness. But what Balotelli does makes you wary about black guys. And I feel like what you're saying, yeah, I think when you're trying to get through, that's why people always say stuff like, "Oh, keep your head down, do this, do that, just listen to your coach, listen to your manager." Things that you should do, but I think you should also be allowed the freedom to be yourself. Do you
yeah,
know what I mean? Because
100%.
sometimes like you see like for example like if somebody's like I don't know, let's say like a Caribbean boy and he wants to play okay, here's a good example. If a Caribbean boy is in the changing room and he wants to play like, some reggae or something, it's like turn this shit off. I've seen loads of that shit.
Yeah,
If I'm in the changing room like recently I want to play Burner Boy, turn that shit off. Do you know
yeah,
what I mean? But then if I frowned, if Oasis came on, people would be like, "Oh God, see, you're racist too," and you're like, "Rah, like what?" And then it reminds you that you're just taking a part and you need to play your position. Because if you don't play your position, everyone's gonna be uncomfortable and everyone have a problem with you.
yeah. No, I get it. So obviously you think this is a contributing factor why a lot of people are coming back to the Sunday League, and it's just football as they know it. Do you ever see that Sunday League being a place where they create people that go from Sunday league to a professional environment, or do you think we're years away from that?
I think we're, I don't know, purely because I tell you what, I tell you what, not to single out a team, but
Yeah.
I remember we played against Lambeth All Stars
Yeah.
a few years ago.
Yeah.
And it was a exciting game. We drew. I was playing for a team called Sporting Croydon and whatever. But they had this kid, and at the time he was like 15. I think his name's Isaiah. Oh my god! I was like, what on earth is that? Like,
Yeah.
I was like, and I never feel like that about anyone. I was like, what is that? Like, I don't know what this kid is. And then I've seen that he's ended up at Middlesbrough. He was on loan at St Johnston or whatever. And I feel like it can happen that way, because I think what we have to accept is that, yes, you can have, for sake of conversation, you can have Saturday ability on a Sunday, but to transfer it to Saturdays and like professional and getting paid and whatever,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to be a good boy. You like, for lack of better words, there's no way you're going there unless you're Messi. Do you know what I mean? It's only when you have talent like that that people bow down to you. But I do generally feel like in the future, I don't know, because obviously with people like you recording games and things like that, I hope, bro, that people can be themselves. That's what I'd love to see.
Yeah.
But these people, I don't think they seem like to give a fuck about us, to be honest.
Yeah. No.
If we're not behaving.
What are you saying? Are you playing next year? You want to get in the Sunday
What?
team?
Nah, man. Not with these knees, man. Nah, I'm a has-been. I'm a has-been. But I don't know. Maybe vets or something. Maybe vets. I'm not far from vets now. I might join in. But no, listen. I see all the stuff that you lot do, and I love it.
Do you watch any? Do you like follow any of the teams by any chance? Do you watch any of them, or like any?
On a Sunday?
Out? Yeah.
Yeah. I see. I'll always check out what you're doing. Then I'll see what Lambeth are doing, because I know like Aaron Watson and that. And then I'll check out the Dons, and then Bayern never losing. See,
okay.
Yeah, is that team? Yeah. I seen their a few of their videos, and yeah, like it's a movement. Like I say, like bro, there's nothing nicer than seeing people that look like you playing football, enjoying it, and being comfortable. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Instead of that, like that tense atmosphere where they got to go and be a robot for 90 minutes.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. So, like, in a nutshell, it sounds like this is, obviously, we knew that before, it's a lot bigger than football, systematic. And obviously, big things need to change within our society first before it can trickle down into, like, the olive branches, so to speak, of, like, football and different sports and community areas. But we can only cross our fingers, and obviously, hopefully, there's a positive outcome after all of this, man. But it's important that everyone is showing this energy now. They continue to do so after the hype, so to speak, dies down.
Yeah.
Obviously, keep on speaking up in terms of any type of injustices, basically.
Yeah, no, 100%. Because people in the past, when people tried to stand up for themselves, etc., it's exhausting being us. And that's why people sometimes, after, like you said, the hype dies down, we just go back to normal, because it's exhausting when you can't see the light, when you can't see how or why things would really change. And at the end of the day, I think the scary thing that sometimes we have to realize is that if things do change, we'd be fucking up the people sitting at the top right now's money. So they're gonna throw everything at us before we change it, because it will fuck up their money.
Yeah, no, 100%, man, 100%. Well, it's been a pleasure catching up with you, man. Very insightful, very intelligent guy, man. Hopefully we can get back playing soon, man. Obviously, maybe not on the Sunday scene, but on the Saturday with Hartley Whitney. But either way, like, we wish you all the best, my bro, Steve.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for having me, bro. It's been good.
Man. All right, my G.